Thank you for checking out the video of our new release of our Chem-Man program. We're very excited about the new release. As you can see, when you log in, it has a lot sleeker, more professional look. In the background, our developers have been working really hard to keep up with the latest browsers, so it's a lot more efficient. It has quicker loading times, and there's the code. Some of the widgets have been changed to be updated with the latest browser. So as they update their browsers, we have to update ours. So we've also been listening to you and working almost 2 years on this release on some of the features. Some of our coding is very complicated, and we've been going through a long testing period as well. So let me go ahead and show you some of the new features that we've done. Although the look is different, your functionality is still the same. You still have your buttons. They're a little gray now instead of green. I still, if I'm on a laptop computer, I prefer the top menu button, but either one will work. It is a little bit more iPad friendly. We are planning on more versions. This is not our final version, but this was our first release because we wanted to go ahead and get it out before the busy time. But we do plan on several more versions of these new updates. I'm going to go to scheduling here. And if you'll notice, the menu is now customizable. It has a little bit different look. To customize it, you can go into your list settings button right here, and you can show different things. So if I wanted to show the chemical applications, the locations, the customers, the wind direction, whatever I want to show, you can click on the check boxes and save them. So I'll click on Save These Settings. There we go. So now I'm going to go in and click on Add and add a new job and show you some of the new features. It has a little bit different look. The buttons look a little bit bigger. It's easier to click on, especially if you're on a mobile device. I'm going to click Select Locations, and I'm going to go to James Anderson. The widget's a little bit different. You have to hit the Enter key and then tab off of it. You could click Search, and I'm going to click right there and click on these 4 fields and select locations. Now, if I had wanted to, I could have put neighboring fields. I could have basically batched a job together in this one job, and then when I transferred it to an invoice, it would separate the billing entities. So that's what's really exciting about one of our features is now if maybe a farmer owned 100% of one field, but a portion of another field, and you also wanted to add the neighbor's field and do it all at once in one job, you can do that now, and it will show you the customers beneath each field now. That's very exciting. And in the past, if you did a portion of a field, a partial, you would just have to modify the applied acres here. So now you have the ability to edit your map. So if there's multiple ways to edit your maps. So let me click on Edit so you can see an overview of the map. And I'm just you could either click Edit there or click Edit here on the field. I'm going to edit the actual field itself. And I'm going to scroll down here. And then if I want to see what the acres have been modified to, I just click View, which is a refresh, and it will show me they've been modified to 26.43. So I'm going to click on Save These Changes, and you'll notice that it's been modified down here. So that's one way to edit it. Another way to edit it is you can just click on the little map next to it, and if you wanted to, it may be easier to delete the polygon. So I'm going to click on Delete, and then I'm going to just redraw it right here, and it will retain the history of that field. Now these edits will not update the original field location. A lot of people ask that. So it will not update your original field location. It's just a temporary fix for a farmer that wants just a portion of a field sprayed. So I'm going to click on View, and it updated my acres to 20.98. So I have 2 partials, if you'll notice there. Our pest widget's a little bit different. As I said, we had to upgrade our widgets. They're not hard to use. Click on the copy button, and I put the pest on all of those. Now I'm going to schedule my work for a certain particular date. I'm going to put in 2-gallon work, and you have to hit the enter as I mentioned, and then tab for our new latest widgets. And maybe if you did a little bit more, you might want to put like 390. If that's actually what you did, it'll recalculate your acres. It'll recalculate your rate per acre. and I'll make that 1 there. Okay. And then we don't have, a lot of people were confused by having 2 applicators. We had one at the top. It came from the old desktop days for commissions, and then we had one at the bottom. So it got a little confusing. So we only have one area to put your applicator now in your scheduling. You don't even have to assign it to an applicator, but if you wanted to calculate your loads, you have to have a capacity in acres and your diluent per acre or so. Some people ask, can you change that diluent? Yes, you can modify it. So it does bring it in from your 2-gallon work if you set it up correctly. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and click on Save this job. And then I'm going to click on the applicator button. I only have 1 load in this particular job, but if you'll notice, we have our partial fields now. It'll even show you the portion. It says 20.98 out of a 75-acre field, or the other, and that will also be reflected in your GPS file. So we're excited to get that done, so you won't have to be just looking at a map to see when you do a partial field. So these little labels, if you don't use that and you use GPS integration, you might turn those on. They do reflect your polygon numbers on your GPS files. It's in your system settings under the Maps tab, the show label indicators. All right, so let me go ahead and exit that screen. I wanted to show you how you could add a job with 2 different billing entities. So if I click select locations right here, I'm going to choose, start typing in Kenny Wilson, and I'm going to search there. And if you'll notice on the right, it tells you the customer for each map. So if you'll notice right here that it's got Kenny Wilson, and then it's got Kenny Wilson and Bud. So he owns a portion of a field on this Wilson, the 3rd field. So I'm going to go ahead and check all 3 of those, and I'm going to click select locations, and then I'm going to go ahead and schedule a particular date. I'll just use my last recipe there. I'll assign it to someone, and then click save. Normal workflow. And then when I click on the applicator button right here, we've got 2 loads, and we've got our three fields there. Okay, so when I transfer the job, I'm gonna click Applied Info. Now the Applied Info looks a little bit different. Don't freak out. It's a lot user-friendly is what we're told. We've had people testing it for us. If you're on an iPad, you can actually click on Add Applied Info here, put your pilot in, put your TAC information in, and then you can select your fields by map. Maybe if it's a pilot that got down and ferried down and he wanted to put his information, I'm just going to choose all 3 there. And that way, he chose all 3 fields that he did. Otherwise, he could just click on check all. It's pretty much the same thing. I've got it set for military time right now, but you could use either time, whatever you set it to. All right, and you can always change your miles per hour if you need to, or any of the information. You know your weather better than anyone, and I'm going to go ahead and transfer that to an invoice. So it took it out of our scheduling. It moved into an invoice stage. All right, if you'll notice now, we have 2 separate invoices. We had Kenny Wilson, who owned 2 fields at 100%. So I'm going to go ahead and print that invoice. And so it has our location information, and it has a little bit different look on the invoice, which is, I think, a cleaner, neater look. Anyway, then you can go down here and see your total. So that's Kenny Wilson's. He has 2 fields that were owned at 100%. But the other one, let me cancel that. The other one that he shared a job with was with Bud Allen. So if I click on that, so Bud Allen got an invoice, and it shows down here they're 50-50. And then you go down here to Kenny Wilson, and he did 50-50 as well. So they both, have an invoice. So it transferred it into 2 separate invoices right here, 1 and 2. So that's very exciting news for a lot of people that have been waiting for that feature. So you could basically batch your own work in one job. But speaking of batches, you could actually go into job batches, and it will look for any of the same. It has to be exact chemical mixtures. We are working on possibly a future uh, ability to do the same active ingredient in case you have some similar chemicals, but they have a different EPA number. But anyway, if you look here, these are jobs that have the same chemical mixture that we've batched together. Let me find one down here that I wanted to show you. All right, here is one for Kenny Wilson, Bud Allen, and Benell Farms. The reason that you might want to batch something together is that you can get one common applicator report, one load sheet, and one map, and one GPS file. You still have the ability to do your individual work. It's just a tool to help you put things together. So I'm going to click on Create Batch. And if you'll notice, this is job 483 and this is 478. I've only got 2 on here, but you could uncheck the ones that you don't want to put on there and leave the ones that you do. But I'm going to leave those both together and create a batch. All right, so now we have a batch together. Let me find that particular batch. It does refresh your screen. So here's our batch now. So if I click just on the map itself, you'll see that we have 2 different jobs put together in a batch, and then you could actually get your GPS file from there if you wanted to, or go to the applicator report. But it allows you to combine things. It's very exciting. We did have batching in the old program. It's a little clunky. This is a lot easier to use. So if I go back into scheduling, I wanted to show you one other thing. We have the ability now to mass edit job schedules. So if you wanted to click on maybe all of them, or if you want to search your change your schedule date for a particular time, like I want to see everything on 02/13 2020 2013 2020, and I'm gonna click on search. I only want to see things scheduled for today. You can filter it more ways. You have a little more button here that you can see more things, but you can filter it by different ways. But anyway, I'm going to filter it by that particular date, and I want to click on this right here. So the checkbox means all the checkboxes that are in my screen, and then I can do a mass edit of these jobs. So if you want to change like the scheduled dates, or if you want to change like the job status to be approved, or in progress or something like that, let's just do in progress. You can also edit your loader worksheets there if you want to assign them all to a particular applicator. You can do that. So I'm gonna put them all to this particular 80 egg pilot, and then edit selected jobs, and so it updates all of those fields for you. So if you'll notice, all of my in progress has been changed. So let me go back into my scheduling. I want to show you one more thing. Click on Add, and then I'm going to click on this little button right here. I could click here, Add Temporary, or I could just click on the map itself. So I'll just, you can do several temporary. This would add me another temporary, but this one right here, you can go in here and just, draw polygons if you want to for temporary jobs. They're not, maybe you were just doing one little job for somebody that is just a temporary job. You could create several if you wanted to. Excuse me. I said temp job for friend, whatever you want to do. I'll just say cons, strip, home place, anything. And then you'll have to put your customer if it's a temp job. So I'm going to just say Bill Allen there, and then I'll use my last saved recipe, and I'll assign it to an applicator and click on save. So you have the ability to do temp jobs as well. So that's another exciting thing. Let me go back to the applied info. So if I click edit there, and I go to my applied info, I want to clear something up on the applied info. If I use as applied info, it's basically using whatever is on this loader sheet. So I click on that, and it brings up Eddie automatically. I could put a date in there, it defaults to all the fields, but if I only have one field on this particular one, 2002, 203, 31. All right, and then I'll just put now. If you want to use your now feature, we are working on several more versions where the pilot will be able to hit start and stop. I might have mentioned that, but I'm very excited about that. We've got multiple versions coming out after this. One thing to note, you will need to do your notification here before you transfer. It doesn't automatically do it. That will be hopefully fixed by next week, but you will have to go ahead and click on your notification and then transfer. So I'm going to go ahead and transfer that to an invoice. All right, so let me show you another one. I'm going to add a quick job very quickly. Select locations, Anderson. I'm going to choose all of his fields here. I'm not going to edit anything. I'm going to use my last recipe. And then I'm going to assign it to Eddie and save. On notifications, you can click your pre-notifications just a little like before. If you want to view your message, you can click view. I'm going to go ahead and send those notifications. All right, now if I click on edit and then I click applied info, I can use the person that I assign it to, or I can just click on add applied info here. And you still have the ability to do 50% or partial job. If I uncheck this field, I can say he only did these particular fields. Maybe he only did a certain amount of acres or whatever. You have the ability to do partials. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign Eddie, that, and then I'll just say now for now, just to make it quick. Okay, and then you can add more applied info here, and it will have your remaining. So that's another feature that's really nice because it's easier to see. Than the other way. In the past, it was just hard to see. So I'm gonna say now, just for to be quick, and then I'm gonna transfer that to an invoice. All right. Now on the invoicing side, if you are a manual biller and you click on add, it's going to look a little bit different. You can have this little location here, and you don't use fields. I'm going to put 500. Let me go to I'm going to say cotton here. One of the neat things that we're very excited about is now you can get your weather. In the past, if you had a manual location, you couldn't get your weather. So because it didn't have a lat and long to go by. But now if you set up your lat and long on your strip setup, it can find it from there. So it will get your weather from the closest strip. So your customer now is a little bit closer here, right next to the field. We had to do that because of all the updates in the other scheduling screen. So I think it's even easier to use, actually. I'm going to go ahead and use my last saved recipe. And if you do need to change your locations by customer splits, you can click on that right there. And maybe you have multiple field locations right here and you need to change them into different splits. You can do that. Otherwise, you can do it right here. And then if you do split it like that, that works just fine. This particular thing down here is if you are splitting by maybe that one pays only the application and one pays different, so you have to go into a lot more detail. But anyway, there's a little bit different look on your billing only, but there's some new features that I think you'll really like. Let me go ahead and click on save there. Uh-oh, hold on. Applied info. I didn't add my applied info. And one more thing. Alrighty, get weather. There we go. So then I'm going to go ahead and click save there. And there we go. So we've got a lot of new features that we've been working really, really hard on. Hopefully, we will get some of your other requests done now that we've gotten past this feature. This has taken us a long time. It was necessary, and hopefully It will make a lot of people happy, and we're excited. We've got hired more developers. We're getting more reports done. They're in the works, and I appreciate you listening to the demo. Feel free to call for a webinar. We are having our on-site training session in the arena at Jonesboro Tuesday the 18th. If you didn't get a chance to schedule, we've provided lunch for more people. We can always adjust. The room holds a lot more people, so just give us a call. Thank you for listening. If you have some questions, 870-238-9222. Thank you.